Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Zen. I wanted to touch on a few things going on in the media today, as well as get into some deeper concepts about what magic is, shamanism, and all of these pictures you see on the page. So I can first explain the concept of what's occurring in the media right now and tie that into magic. And I wanted to make, as usual, a very complex subject for most people's minds. I wanted to decipher it and make it very digestible so you can understand what's happening. And one of the major things that's occurring in the media is this idea of this Orwellian theory, this alternative facts is what the term is right now. Everyone's talking about alternative facts. And while they're absolutely correct in what's occurring with the use of alternative facts, they are also co-opting it for a lot of reasons due to alternative media, as well as the more basic thing, which is the binding it to scientism, to binding it to materialism, binding empiricism, the taking what is the scientific method and deranging it. Because anybody that's heard me speak before, I'm a big fan of everything to do with science and the scientific method, as well as the occult and hidden magical kingdoms. But what's happening here is they're using this term, alternative facts, to try to say that anybody that questions what is authoritatively given or granted through the news media, they've always done this, but now they're doing it to a degree unseen before, that there is no questioning the scientific empire. And there are plenty of people within the scientific community that don't agree whatsoever with what's being done with the scientism, because they run the same gambit as the religions. It is both a religious concept. And anybody that's very familiar with my work knows it's just the black and white gambit. This is why, if you look at the pictures, you'll understand that one half is playing the white, one half is playing the black. We have to come to realize that we live in a full spectrum world that has a lot more going on. It's not just one versus the other. And right now, the one is the idea of the establishment, the media, and trying to even take alternative facts and turn it into some sort of as if there is no other statement or conclusion that could be made about things like the shape of the earth, or that the earth is getting hot or it's getting cold. And it's not. See, again, this is the dilemma. Is it's a conversation I've had with a couple people recently, and it's not that the answer is wrong, but the why that is important. The conclusion is the planet is hotter. We'll just use this example. Or there's global warming happening. The conclusion is obvious, but the way they got there, there's a disagreement, and there's a big disagreement. And so that's what needs to be explored, not the answer, because most people do agree that right now, today, the planet, it's obvious, but how did we get there? And that is the major issue. But now they've co-opted this term, alternative facts, and they spread this across everything. They've been doing it just recently to tell you what media sources are factual and what are not. And the people that buy into this, it means don't think we'll give you the answer. So now we've kind of gotten that out of the way, because that's a symptom of a larger problem. But as always, we give solutions here, and we show you what's going on, so that way you can understand and overstand what's happening. That way you can come to conclusions for your own life about what's going on. So as this boils into the larger topic and concept I wanted to convey to people, it has to do with, I lay things out on a page so you can kind of comprehend, if I said no words, what I'm saying. And I'll walk you right through it. I'll explain to you the ideas that I have about people that are disingenuous. about people that are sincere but confused. I'll speak about the misanthropic nature of people, and it just has to do with not having a trust in humans and society. And people have good reasons. It's always a sincere reason. It's like people having a good heart. Everyone really has a good heart, and everybody has a good reason. It's just like the idea of the planet Mars. People always go, oh, the planet Mars is red and it's warlike. But if on the other side of that planet, if you realize the things that it was protecting, you would understand. So what we're trying to do here is take a very complex understanding of the world, because it looks like everything is not really fit together, but it is. And I'm going to make this very mundane and very pedestrian for you to understand. If we look to the white category, we look to the white side of the chessboard. We look at the institution of science, and it's not really just science, it's the doctors and the scientists that claim scientism. They don't claim it, but they practice it, they preach it. They're no different. When they get on the media and they preach something, they're not showing the method. They're not showing the actual method to getting the answer. And it's the same thing the priests do. See, this is the black priestcraft. They're playing the opposite side of the board. They tell you we have the answers, and they preach to you. They don't tell you how. They don't tell you how to speak to the Jesus. They don't tell you how to speak to the God. They say, we'll do it for you. And it's the same thing as the scientism community. Now, nonetheless, they're all sincere, most of them. There are some people that know they're caught up in a very interesting game of Monopoly and interesting game of having to feed their family and money and life and everything that goes on. There's a very strong material binding. Both of these institutions participate in the material world. They sell and they buy and they give you constructs out of the material world. As much as the faith in a religion seems like it's giving you something out of this world or in a further life, their instructions are for what to do here and how to do it, and they have the answers. So when we start with this idea and we look at what I've illustrated here, we can look at the kind of energy systems. And again, these people, I don't know them. I have no claims against them. I'm just trying to use them as illustrations, as points of reference in your consciousness of who these people represent as figures, as archons, as characters. And when we get into, I'll just name off all these people. Look at James Randi and how much he looks like Darwin. Could that be on purpose? I don't know, but it's quite interesting to me because he is always he always discredits the entire idea of mysticism and the meta world. He gets into more of he always discredits magic. And while there's a lot of people out here, and listen further here before we snap judgments, there are a lot of people out here that are actually doing magic, but it's easy to show someone a false magic trick. And as we get into who these people are and what they're showing you, we can get into, I put David Blaine in the middle to give you a concept that he does fake magic tricks. He does lots of phony things, but he also sat above the Euphrates for 43 days in a glass box. He also put himself in a block of ice. He also held his breath for, 17 minutes underwater? He's showing you, while being part of the club as well, showing you, he's illustrating to you the actual magic, the human potential. He's showing you that. But to do that, to get that kind of audience, he had to do some phony card tricks. He had to participate in the silliness. And then right next to him, Darren Brown, if you're familiar with his work, he always deals with mentalism, and he gets you to actually question things. And he's actually showing you what's going on with the phoniness, with how it all works, saying, hey, it's just in your mind. He doesn't go as far to explain and show you how magic really works, that it really exists. I don't know if he knows or not. It's irrelevant, but his character and what he does and what he displays is a lot of you are being tricked, and I'm going to show you how you're being tricked. And Sam Harris, he also uses a lot of the same methodology to say you're being tricked by religion, but he is so far to bringing people to the scientific cult, or excuse me, the scientism cult, that to stop asking questions to the establishment. And he uses a lot of disingenuous type arguments that it's funny because I really followed him years ago, him and the other three horsemen of the apocalypse, Daniel Dennett and the rest of them. And they offer, remember this, that everyone is offering you something. There are some people that give you as much truth as they can. And those are the real poet laureates, the real healers, the ones that you don't see, right? And this is why I show this little picture up in the right-hand corner. People have this idea of the shaman that you'll never meet. It's just an image that you see, and it's an idea that you have, and it seems so far from you. But what does the real shaman look like? Well, probably a little closer to the guy sitting next to him. You see the guy with all of the jars, and he's looking poor, and that's what's happened to the healers today. They shouldn't be like that. They shouldn't be in those places. They have to be, because now people consider the healer the one that's paid, the one that actually makes it in this world. They look down into the bottom left-hand corner and they go, hey, this guy's making a $200,000 a year, and he's important, and he's got the white jacket on, and he's going to give me my pills and medicine, and he lives a good life. And then we look up to this other man that's, wow, he's just got jars of garbage and crap, and what's in there, and where did he get it from? And so that unknown figure is actually probably closer, in fact, truly is closer to a magician and a healer. Look into a Wim Hof. He's showing you the absolute healing methodology for the body. Now, if he doesn't become somewhat famous, if he doesn't start doing some things that he's done to make some money and have some credibility on the scene, no one learns the most basic concept, which is, here, breathe correctly. It will improve your life. That dude's a healer. And then we look to like a Sadhguru. Amazing dude. He's much closer to the center. I don't think most people are going to be able to practice the lifestyle he lives, but he's giving people simple information, technology, and answers how to fix your life. And then we can go over and see these Deepak Chopras, and he's actually helping to pull people out of the scientism, that mindset, to say, hey, there's more to it than this scientific worldview. Yeah, a lot of people say, oh, he's a phony, he's this, he's that, but they've missed the purpose. They've missed what his purpose is. It's not to bring people that know the answer to his side. It's to pull people from the medical establishment mind to say, hey, look over here, there's more to the mind, there's more to the world. And then we get into this Darwin and James Randi, and it's just the mean old grandfather figure. I mean, what else could it be? Anybody that's into this and knows what's going on knows the faultiness and the falsities of the Darwinian theory. Everyone knows that. And it's getting people away from the scientific religion, the scientism, and the religion. So we look at like a Chris Angel. What is he in the other side? Look at he's just an image. Look at all of that imagery. He performs no real magic. He's not participating in magic. He's of the same. You know, he gives you the image of what you see as the black occultist, the black cloaked occultist, the hidden. Oh man, he's doing all these crazy things. And the amount of magic, the amount of camera tricks that they use, it's silly. But he gives you this image that he's doing it as the same image as a priest would. So his actual tactic is, okay, well, anybody that can see it can see how silly the notion is. How, people that really believe he might be doing some real magic. He might have some craft going on. There might be he might be using some jinns. He might be using some other creatures. Who knows? But even if as such, then it must be realized that it exists. But it's such a far a far point from what's really going on. And then you can look at like a Penn and Teller. Penn and Teller, they show you, they in the good way, they show you the magic tricks and they tell you how they did them. And they make your mind go, oh, don't worry about the fake tricks. It's fun to watch. We'll explain how they're done, but then they still push the the scientism agenda. They still push this thing, and what is really happening? Are they pushing that, or are they actually bringing people to use their own mind? So all of these people have their position, and I put Walt Whitman there because what was he? He was closer to Sadhguru, closer to showing you Wim Hof and David Blaine. How? Because read some of his books. I mean, he actually lived the life in a cabin. You know, he lived the very Sadhguru lifestyle. And then you have like this David Blaine who actually he really balances on the tightrope and makes people actually go question, did he really put himself in a box for 40 days? Did he really put himself? That's the question. Obviously he did, but well, some people might question. But in the other direction, oh, he's using all these card tricks and these camera tricks. So there's this dialectic that people have in the scientific community that basically tries to I guess it would be the use of language and syntax and the way of using language to discredit something by using bigger words and it's always code words and trick words and we know these words that you don't know, and it's to confuse people. And the amount of confusion that's caused, people make very mundane simple things very complex by using large words. You can do it the opposite way. You can condense things down to one word to make things very simple for people to understand, but it happens in very confusing ways often when the goal is of the material world and to make money. People will use language to confuse, not to empower, not to have people become their own, self-sufficient being. A lot of these people, but once again, their sincerity is almost surely there. All of these people, there's quite a bit of sincerity in what they're speaking, but they're also trained as well. They're also part of a club. They're also part of the construct of the mind that they were delivered. They could be nothing else. You couldn't expect them to magically understand how it all works, and if they did, they wouldn't be where they are. It's such a simple concept, but it's. Do you expect someone that lives in Japan to magically speak Zimbabwean? I mean, it can't happen. So when we boil this down to the basic fundamental thing, it always says, can you sit there and breathe for a second and know who you are and that you're made of atoms, you're an atomic man or a woman, and then you go from there. And then you can establish yourself in the center and look at the things that are going on around you with these people that are always selling you something, that are always selling you religion, selling you science, selling you this, selling you that. And some of these things are perfectly wonderful and helpful and generous and genuine, and they're helpful for your path. Absolutely. All of these people, all of the things they've offered you, the books, the medicine, even the medicine that I don't take it, I wouldn't take it. And maybe you should. Maybe it helps you. Maybe that pain pill, that Advil that you buy at the store because you have such a headache, that actually keeps you sane for a second from actually throwing something against the wall and breaking something. Who knows? The purpose there is until you can figure out, that actually comes from a tree bark, and you can go and buy that bark for a lot cheaper, make your own tea, and bypass the entire establishment. Well, this is the thing: is none of these people are doing anything out of a heart of malice, and that's what needs to be understood. But there are, once again, people closer to giving you the entire spectrum. And it's not to put those people on a pedestal, because the people that have the whole spectrum don't want to be put on a pedestal. They want you to understand that you're your own being, you're your own creation, and the things that are going on around you are they're just something fun to look at. There's something fun to participate with if you so choose. But don't get it confused. Don't get it twisted. Don't go too far down these paths and get stuck in a rabbit hole of getting lost and stuck in theories and ideas that have no value, nothing for your life. They offer you nothing. So, I hope that kind of clears up these ideas of scientism and magic. And, well, let's go a little farther on what is magic. Magic is this idea, and I'm gonna be doing a lot deeper work on this for you guys. Probably turn this into some large classes and explain to you that what magic is. Magic is planting seeds. Magic is planting seeds in a place that you don't understand. But there are people that understand where those seeds go. And it's beyond even the meta universe. We talk about metaphysics because what we try to do is we try to level people up from a dense material world to the mind world, the world of the metaphysician, the meta practitioner, and then we move it up a level beyond that to what would be out of body, what would be what's termed out of time, afterlife, things like that. Because as I always speak in these 3 levels, we're trying to show you how magic works from every level. There is no physical cause of anything. The physical cause was the mind, and the mind's cause was the spirit, and the spirit's cause was the soul. So we try to, backtrack. We try to backwards map that whole thing and show you the whole process. And so give you a map to show you the kind of things that you can use in the material world to help aid something. Show you the things that you can use in the mental world to aid yourself and the people around you. And then we show you even further how to get into and plant seeds into places that you just don't know where the seed went. It's no different than planting a seed outside. Once you put it in the ground, you'll never know. You can kind of know where you planted it, but all you can do is just go, well, that seed's there. We'll see what happens. And what I'm trying to get into and explain to everyone so that they can understand it themselves is how to plant seeds for yourself. Not only how to plant seeds for yourself, but how to manufacture yourself a seed out of your consciousness so you can plant somewhere. And then go reap your rewards and your fruits from that. Cheers, y'all. Have a beautiful day.